Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. All individuals entering city-operated facilities, including City Hall, are required to wear a non-medical face mask. Those at the table are not required to wear masks while sitting, as long as they're distanced 6 feet from anyone else. Once you leave your seat at the table, you must put your mask back on. As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, we are requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Please note, when you join the meeting via Zoom, all participants will be in the waiting room and your microphone will be muted until the host lets you in the room. You can watch the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. When called upon, you will be allowed from the waiting room and permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once you've been heard, you can continue to watch the hearing live via the City's Board of Revision YouTube channel. If any participants are currently watching the live meeting on YouTube, please mute your audio player now. I'd now like to introduce the members of the panel. My name is Cynthia Stevens, and I'll be chairing this hearing today. To my far left is Mr. Bill Moretsky, and to my close left is Mr. Jeff Peich. Our assessor today is Nathan Kupfer, and our secretary is Michelle Neepin. We will be hearing applications for revision of assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been detailed in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or reclassification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all of the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. Use of cell phone is not permitted except by approval of the chair, and if you have a cell phone with you, please put it on mute. Thank you, Michelle. So the first property we're going to be discussing today is 635 Westminster. And and Michelle, if you could swear in. Yeah. Thank you.
Grant, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll need your video on though, please.
Pardon me?
We need your video on.
Oh, okay. Can you see it or? There we go.
I'll send you in. Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give us is true? Okay, I'll affirm you in before we get started. Can you state your full name, please?
Grant Kabir.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Oberick. So the way this is going to work is the assessor is going to go through his brief. You will then be able to ask him questions. We'll ask him questions, and then you'll be able to present your evidence, okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Kupfer, when you're ready.
635 Westminster Avenue, parcel ID number 120-909-24000. It's in the West Broadway area. It's a two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1928 with an effective age of 1956. Living area of 1,680 square feet with a full part area basement. No basement finish, 1.5 bathrooms. It's on a lot just over 1,600 square feet. The bus route, external corner, light traffic, and school influence. The property is a mixed-use property, so it's mixed commercial and residential, which is why it's on our docket today. So essentially the main floor in front is a grocery store. The back part is an addition that was built on 1977, and that's the residential portion. The 2021 assessment for this property is set at $261,000 or $155 per square foot. Our four comparables. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find anything else in the West Broadway area, so we've got Lord Roberts, Daniel Mack, William White, and McMillan. They're a combination of 1-2 stories, constructed between 1904 and 1948 with effective ages similar to the subject. All have some basement, some part, or some full. None of them are finished bathroom count as seen before you. Only comparables 3 and 4 have air conditioning on record, and only comparable 3 has a detached garage on record. Lot sizes range, well, they're all about 3,000 square feet, all with their own respective influences. All 4 comparables, similar to the subject, are mixed use, commercial, residential, which is of course why they've been included. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of $177,100 to a high of $491,900, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from $134.17 to a high of $251.87. The subject itself was purchased in 2015 in a private sale for $235,000. And the last page of your brief here, I've included just the transfer document that I pulled from Manitoba Land Titles, which shows both the consideration and the fair market value to be $235,000 at that time, as myself and Mr. O'Barrick had discussed this prior to the hearing. And at this time, the department is recommending that the assessment of $261,000 be confirmed. Thank you.
Mr. Moretsky, any questions?
Yeah, Nathan, I know we had.
Just the panel members will ask first, and then it's your turn. So I'll call on you in a moment. Thank you. Mr. Pike?
No questions at this time.
I just have one. So the other comps that you said that the subject property has a grocery store in the front and residential in the back.
That's right, yeah.
Are the other comps similar with commercial space and residential?
That's right, yes. They're all mixed use as well, varying in size, and they aren't all grocery stores. Again, it's not easy to find comparables for a small grocery store with their residential section in the back. So we had to pull a little bit, but they are all mixed use, similar to the subject.
Okay, Mr. Obrick, you can ask questions of the assessor now if you'd like.
Yeah, Nathan, thanks for your summarization. That was one of the items that me and Nathan were going back and forth on, was the fact that the lack of comparables for this kind of a property in the city over this time period. And I mean, Nathan did a good job finding at least 4, but again, I don't think those 4 are representative of what we see in Westminster Avenue. So,
do you have a question? Though this is part. You can give your evidence in a moment, but do you have a question for the assessor right now?
Well, in all honesty, Nathan, do you think those 4 comparables are, in fact, comparable to 635 Westminster?
I would say comparables 1 and 2 are probably the closest in terms of comparability, in terms of the age and the size and the location, in terms of desirability. Comparable 3, I would say, is an inferior location in William White, and comparable 4, admittedly, is in a superior location on Corridon. When we're dealing with making comparables like this, you're not going to find an exact duplicate apples and apples comparable, so there's always some adjustment that needs to be made. Again, I would say comparables 1 and 2 are probably the closest.
Okay, with that in mind then, so you're recommending a 261 value. Meanwhile, the comp 1 is at 200 and comp 2 is at 270. So how could you clearly recommend a higher value than comp 1?
Well, 261,000 would be derived from our mass appraisal model, right, using a larger sample size. I would draw you to the price per square foot, which I think would be more comparable in this situation, given that comp one's almost 400 square feet smaller. It's not surprising to me that it sold for slightly less. And same with comparable two being slightly larger. It's not surprising that it sold for slightly more.
And that was one of the questions I had to on our last correspondence is that that extrapolation you get from the sale price back in 15 to bring it to a market value of 18. I mean, I clearly stated in the email that, that comparison is not, I don't think it's a valid comparison to be able to use a market value or a market derivative when you don't have many comparables within this property classification.
What was the question specifically?
Well, the question was, how can you use a market derivative to get from a 235 value in 15 to a 261 value in 18 when there aren't any real comparables in this classification? So you're using a common derivative of all classes to increase the value, which is not really a fair assessment for this property.
Are you referring to the time adjusted sale price that we?
Yes. Yes.
So that's something separate. That's not what this 261 is derived from. The time adjusted sale price was something I brought up to you. Basically, I said when we have an absence of comparable sales, oftentimes something that we'll consider as a time adjustment to a recent sale price. And in this instance, the time adjustment from the 2015 sale price would have came out to 251,000. That's what I said.
So yeah, clearly in your email, you're stating that the 250, in your experience, is probably where everything would lie. And meanwhile, you're going for a higher value now. So you're saying it should stay at the 261. Meanwhile, last week you're saying, no comparables. 250 would probably be a settled upon price, even though I don't agree with that math.
I'm saying 261 is the value derived using direct comparison with other comparables within our mass appraisal model. The time adjustment is essentially us taking the sale price and saying that the market in this area grew over a certain percentage based on this time frame. And if we applied that percentage increase from the sale price, then it would come out to about 251. So it's a separate method of valuation. I think it's reasonable to say that with a property like this, and like I said, with comparables that aren't going to be bang on, it would be difficult to put an exact dollar figure to it. But I'd agree with you that probably between 250 and 260,000, what I suggested with the time adjusted sale price and where we're at with our market comparisons is probably a reasonable figure for where it would sell in that range. Yeah.
Okay. That's all the questions I asked for Nathan.
So that's all the questions you have?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to clarify something you said in your answer there. So you had indicated to the applicant that at time adjusted, you were looking at around 251.
That's right. That's what it came out to. Yeah, from 235.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. O'Barrick, you can make your presentation now. I know you've already said some of the things maybe you wanted to say, but feel free to reiterate anything you would like us to know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I know you guys have a hard job doing this because, especially in this kind of a scenario where you don't have a real great comparable property class with these multi-purpose properties. So, and it's tough. I mean, I know I've been through this before, and it's a hard thing to do to try to get some sort of comparables. And I mean, Nathan tried, and I mean, you could see he's, you don't have a lot here. I mean, you got two potential that, we can maybe settle on for comparisons, but I mean, I'm, still not 100% agreeing with how, you're deriving numbers to get from a 235 purchase price to 3 years later, increase in the value by 45% on the assessment. It really doesn't make sense that you go from 235 to 261 within a 3-year span to increase the assessment. And again, I wish I could provide more comparables and provide some sort of a case. But I mean, as Nathan, as he explained, he's got all the tools more tools than I have doing in terms of getting values, and he had a hard time getting some values. So I don't find your job very easy to make any sort of a determination on this kind of a property. And yeah, I mean, there's not a lot I could say because again, we're playing with a limited number of pieces here. So I wish I could get some more values, but I can't create something that doesn't exist. So all the other evidence, I mean, I'm trying to use an assessment to assessment value. I know that's not exactly, that's fraught with its own downfall, and I know it's not going to persuade, the board to look at it, but it's a very tough analysis to try to get, a direct comparison. And I mean, there's not a lot I could say because we're dealing with, not a lot of pieces here. So that's pretty well, outside of what I submitted to Nathan already, and I assume you have copies of. Actually, one of the things I noticed is, the actual footprint of the property basically takes up the whole lot. So there's actually there's no place to park. There's absolutely no green space. All the other comparables that you did provide, Nathan, have parking and has some sort of green space. So, I mean, in terms of desirability, like this property is not desirable from the sense of a living quarter. So, I would highly doubt in the future this would ever be transformed into a single family dwelling. But in terms of resale, I mean, I find that also, a detriment to a resale value when your stamp is your property lot stamp is basically the whole building itself, with not like he has to basically pay for parking elsewhere. So he's got zero parking, zero place to put a chair and relax. So I mean that's something that I guess we should note as the other properties. Their lot size in some cases are almost double on these comps that he gave us. So that I think needs to also be taken into consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Kupfer, do you have any questions?
I have no questions. No.
Okay. Mr. Peich, any questions?
Are there any other unique or distinguishing characteristics of your property that you would like to express to us?
No, just the fact that, as Nathan indicated, there was an addition put in '77, and that basically took away the parking and any green space in the back. I don't know if you have the pictures in front of you, but you could see the what existed was a single story at the front of Westminster, with the two-story addition being built in '77, basically taking away any sort of parking or green space in the backyard.
Have you you've presented some concerns about the comparables that have been presented today? You haven't been able to provide any of your own. You've indicated the value that is being asked for is not consistent with based on what? And I guess that's my question. What value is it that you are looking for?
Again, I mean, I wish I could give you value. When you don't have comps, it's a hard thing to put a value on, right? Because there's no quantitative method that you could say, hey, this is the value it should be. What was concerning was the jump, like what was that 45% jump? What was that based on? So that's, I mean, I don't have any determination how a property could jump 45% like that from time of purchase to time of assessment, when we know for a fact that the comps are very limited. So what would be driving that kind of an adjustment?
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Mr. Moretsky.
Yeah, I don't understand the 45% increase. Can you explain that to me? I guess I'm...
Well, you go from your purchase price of $235 to $261.
That's an increase of 45%.
Just
I have it about 15%. Just looking at.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the total assessment. Sorry, I'm looking at the assessment of 171.90. That was back in 17. So the assessed value in 2017 was 171.90. So 171.90 in 17. There's a purchase price establishing a value at 235 and 15, and then an assessment in 18 up to 261.
What was the previous assessment year that you were talking about? That's not.
I've got 2016, 17. It was 171.90, and then in 2018. Pardon me?
That's what you're saying is 45% from 2016.
Right. Correct. Well, 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
So the assessment was lower than what you paid in 2015, or?
Right. That's right. Just because of the assessment being 2 years behind, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you paid, and when you bought it in 2015, did you think? Well, obviously you thought it was worth that much at that time, correct?
Right. Right.
So you thought it was worth $235,000.
Right. Right.
So, given that it's 3 years later, that there is some increase in pricing, pretty much, all areas of Winnipeg, would you agree that? Did you agree that first of all, this time adjusted price is about right, 251 that you guys had discussed?
Again, I mean, I don't know what the factor is to determine the 235 to 250 increase.
But would you say it's got to be worth more in 2018 than it was in 2015, even if you didn't do anything to the place or anything, nothing happened in the meantime?
You know what? These properties are unique in the sense that they don't appreciate like a regular residential, because what you're dealing with is you're looking for an owner that not only is going to live there but also run a business from there. So I can't sit here and say that this property will appreciate by X when I can sit here and say that this residential house will increase by X, because I know there's a demand for it. There's not a lot of demand for these homes, these multi-use facilities. These properties basically tend to stay within these family units for years and decades.
So it's worth at least what you paid for it in 2015, $235,000.
Right.
Okay, no more questions.
Okay.
A couple questions. So when you purchased the property, was that an arm's length transaction?
Oh, yes.
The seller?
Yes, it was.
It was arm's length?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you said there had been an addition on the building, and I'm sorry, I missed the year of that. Have you done any upgrades to the building since you purchased it?
None. Zero.
Okay, so that addition had been done prior to your purchase?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, that's all the questions I had. Any requirement for summation, Mr. Kupfer?
I just wanted to clarify, because he was mentioning the 46% increase. So obviously he's talking about the assessment increase, assessment to assessment. So when the property was purchased in 2015, our assessment was actually $146,900. So the owner paid about $90,000 more than what the assessed value was. So obviously the market value wasn't following the assessment at that time. The property was demonstrably underassessed, which is why an adjustment was made, and the property characteristics were updated at that time. That's why the assessment increased more than what an average market increase would have been over that time.
Thank you. Mr. O'Barrick, would you like to summarize it all?
No, I'm good.
No? Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and you'll receive our decision in the mail shortly. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so the next property on the docket is 914 Jubilee Avenue.
Can you state your full name, please?
Ryan Olaros.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good morning, Mr. Oliveros.
Good morning.
Okay, so 914 Jubilee, Mr. Kupfer, you can proceed when you're ready.
14 Jubilee Avenue, parcel ID number 120016150000. It's in the Point Road neighborhood area. The parcel currently, as per our records, has a single detached garage on it. The Res OT classification that you see there just means that it's still zoned residential, but it has an outbuilding on it, typically a garage. The zoning for the property is R2. The lot size is just over 7,700 square feet. Being that it's on Jubilee Avenue, it's on the bus route, and it does get heavy traffic. The 2021 assessment for this property is set at $173,000 or $22.40 per square foot. That's land square foot, of course. Comparables 1, 2, 3, and 4. Comparables 1 and 2 are both in Point Road. 3 is in Beaumont. 4 is in Central St. Boniface. Comparable 2, similar to the subject, had an outbuilding on it. Comparable 3 had a single detached home on it, but it was demolished after the sale. It was purchased for the land for development, similar to what the subject would be. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 are all zoned R1, while comparable 4 is zoned R2, similar to the subject. Lot sizes range from a low of 5,938 at comparable 1 to 7,243 for comparable 4, similar to the subject. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 131,500 to a high of 251,200, or a time adjusted sale price per lot square foot of a low of $22.14 to a high of $34.69. At this time, the department's recommending that the assessment of $173,000 be maintained for this property. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Oliveros, questions?
No, I do not have any questions, and we are just looking to confirm the assessment today, just pending some instructions from our clients.
Oh, okay.
And that's for all three properties, assuming that there's no increase involved.
Okay.
On any of them.
I
do apologize. I just stepped. I was just. This was just brought to my attention last evening or yesterday evening. So.
All right. So I'll just ask the panel members if they have any questions before we do that. Mr. Page?
No
Mr. Moretsky? No questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to 912 Jubilee Avenue.
Right next door to the previous property, 912 Jubilee Avenue, parcel ID number 120016140000. Again, the parcel use code is Res OT, has a single detached garage on it. The 4 comparables are the same. The lot size is the same. It's also zoned R2. For this one, the assessment is set at $170,000. I believe the discrepancy is in the garage. It's slightly smaller on this property. Total assessment per lot size square foot is $22.01. And again, the department's recommending that be confirmed, $170,000.
No questions again?
No questions.
Okay. Panel members, any questions? No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, the next item is 511 Tremblay Street. Mr. Kupfer, when you're ready, please proceed.
511 Tremblay Street, parcel ID number 060934616990. It's in the Archwood neighborhood area. It's a two-story duplex constructed in 2014, 1,920 square feet of living area, a full basement with basement finish, 3 full bathrooms, air conditioning, and no garage on record. A lot size just under 3,000 square feet, no influences. Comparables 1 and 2 are also in the Archwood area, while comparable 3 is in Lord Roberts, and comparable 4 in St. John's. All are two-story, all are duplex, with the exception of 492 Walker, which is technically a single family with a secondary unit. Comparables 1, 3, and 4, similar to the subject, are new construction, while comparable 2 is an older home constructed in 1959 with some upgrading. Comparables 2, 3, and 4 all have full basements with basement finish, similar to the subject, while comparable 1 does not have a basement at all. Bathroom counts are as laid out before you. All comparables have air conditioning, similar to the subject. Only comparable 2 has a garage. Lot sizes vary from a low of 2,206 square feet to a high of 5,101 square feet between comparables 3 and 2 there. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 385,900 to a high of 512,500, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $185.50 to a high of $305.72. And again, the department is recommending that the assessment be maintained at $479,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
No questions, and we are just seeking confirmation under section 54.
Panel members, any questions? I just, 2015 sale, 95,000. You know what was going on there?
Land sale.
There was land, so this has been an infill?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Oliveras.
Thank you. Thanks, Nate.
Okay, so the next property on the agenda is 974 Carter Avenue. So if you, yeah, take a seat and then you have to be sworn in, please.
All right. Want me to wipe this down? Just let me get some paper towel and I'll dry it off. Can you state your full name, please?
I am Mahmoud Nawar.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this time should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And you've got something to hand out?
Yes.
Okay, I can take that from you.
That is a picture of my properties.
Okay.
Cracks from outside, 2 big cracks,
Is this just one copy or are these?
multiple pictures. Different pictures of the cracks inside and outside and the basement.
Oh, but it's just one copy of this, right? They're not,
It's just one copy.
oh, okay. Is this everything?
No. There is 3 pages, which is, I bought that properties, so that is from the assessment from the bank.
So this is one copy as well?
Yes.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, we'll pass these around when we get to your presentation,
Okay.
Mr. Nawar. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you've seen what's going to happen here. So right now, Mr. Kupfer is going to go through the property and then you can ask questions and we'll ask questions and then it'll be your chance to. Okay, Mr. Kupfer, please proceed when you're ready.
974 Carter Avenue, parcel ID number 120-139-92100. It's in the Grant Park neighborhood. It's a 2-story duplex constructed in 1961. 2,134 square feet of living area, full basement with basement finish, 2.5 bathrooms, air conditioning, and a detached multi-garage. Subject is on a lot just over 5,000 square feet on an external corner. Comparables 1, 2, 3, and 4, again, we're looking in different neighborhoods. Grant Park, Rockwood, Lord Roberts, and North River Heights, the surrounding neighborhood areas. They're all two-story, all duplexes. Comparables 1 and 2, similar to the subject, constructed in 1961, 1951. Comparable 3 is an older one with considerable upgrading. And comparable 4, constructed in 1947, again upgraded. We have an effective age in 1967. Living areas for the 4 comparables range from a low of 1,768 square feet to a high of 2,322 square feet. All have full basements. Comparable 2 and 4 have basement finish, while 1 and 3 do not. Bathroom counts range from 2 full to 2 to 3 bathrooms. Comparables 2 and 4 have air conditioning, while 1 and 3 do not. And comparables 2 and 4 have garages, while 1 and 3 do not. Assessed land sizes for the 4 comparables range from a low of 3,060 square feet to a high of 6,057 square feet. And our time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 381,900 to a high of 507,300, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $197.26 to a high of $286.93. The subject was purchased post-reference in a public sale in 2020 for $386,000. I would say the comparable 1 is obviously our strongest comparable here. It seems to be an exact copy almost of the subject house. And I'll wait to hear from the applicant before deciding whether $449,000 I think is the appropriate assessment. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to point out that the 2020 sale is post-reference and should not be considered. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Mr. Noir, any questions for the assessor?
Yes, I bought that house in December 2019, mid-December.
Okay.
The price was $386 in the free market. It was in the MLS. It was like more than 47 days. There is one of the paper proving that it was more than 45 days. So it wasn't like
No, this is you're presenting evidence now. Do you have any questions for Mr. Kupfer?
No, I don't.
No, oh, you don't have any questions. Okay,
No,
we'll get to this in your, okay. Mr. Moretsky, any questions for the assessor?
No questions.
Mr. Page?
You indicated comp 1, pardon me, yes, comp 1 is almost a duplicate of the subject property. I noticed that your comp 2 is quite a bit higher in terms of the time adjusted sale price per square foot. Seems to be a great deal of variability between comp 1 and comp 2. Could you maybe comment on why that would be?
Yeah, so they were both public sales, so we have decent information on both. 1056 Corridon, it reads like it's been completely remodeled. The realtor describes it as gorgeous on the inside. Given that it's on Corridon, they may be appealing to a slightly higher market for rental. Whereas 974 Carter is a fantastic opportunity, well-priced Crescentwood duplex, so hasn't probably undergone the same level of renovation.
Okay, great.
And I think the effective age reflects that as well.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
I don't think you may have spoken to this and I may have missed it. Is it, to your knowledge, has the subject property been renovated?
To my knowledge, it is not. No. Again, public sale, so we're fairly up to date on what the condition is inside. That's why I print these listings, even when it is a post-reference sale. They don't mention much about upgrades, so I would suggest it's probably fairly similar to comparable 1 here, 974 and 967.
I'm assuming this is all model driven?
The assessments are model driven.
Okay,
yes.
so it's just interesting that the almost identical property next door, central air, I guess, is the difference.
And the basement finish and the garage.
Yeah, okay, yeah, got it, okay. Okay, thank you. Mr. Noir, you can proceed.
I bought it. It was,
I'm just going to look at these and then
Sure.
pass them down, so I'll still be listening, go ahead.
So when I bought it, it was like it was in the market for more than 50 days. So it's not like hot sale or like opportunity. I made one round of negotiation. It was like 10,000. So I have the offer with me now. So what I'm saying, I bought it at free market 386,000, which is more So free market is always more stronger than benchmarking or comparable properties. I started like from 2 months. I found crack. It's rented property, so I found crack from outside, horizontal crack. I have pictures. I have also picture in the basement, crack from down the floor. And I have another side cracks as well. So I guess the house is sloping. I asked the company to give me quotation. I was fixed. He came and said me you need to put piles, jack it up, and all that stuff. But he told me it would be for 50,000. I almost asked him to give me quotation. He didn't bother to give me quotation. Said it's not worth it to fix it. And so I was the market price. I just bought it, so it's 386. And I don't think it was a hot deal, or now my feeling maybe I need to do a lot of renovation or in the structure, and it's a structure to keep it maintained. So I have the proof pictures and the assessment report conducted by the bank. So it's not my assessment. I have 3 pages and I have the full report with me. It shows there is a crack, need to be investigated. It shows it was 47 days in the market. I highlighted in fluorescent yellow. And that's all.
Up for any questions?
Since taking possession, have you made any changes to the home itself?
What I did painting, some plumbing, I have to do it, because it's the main sewer was blocked, and I have to clean it out with my company. So structure changes, it was painting because there was a crack in the wall, and I had to paint it before painting it, and that crack came on again. So it's less than 10 months, the cracks has been shown again.
Yeah.
And that is a recent picture.
After painting over it, the crack will show through?
Yeah.
Okay. You said the plumbing change, there was a blockage, like a sewer blockage?
Sewer blockage.
Like Roto-Rooter came in and...
Yeah, exactly.
I've had that done before. Okay. And what was the number that the bank came up with?
The bank?
Yeah. You said you had a bank appraisal done?
Yeah, I guess one of the 3 pictures. It was around 400.
Around 400?
400.
With the current market date, obviously?
Yes.
Yeah.
We did a comparison.
Okay.
I guess it's one of the.
And do you know if somebody from the bank, or did they send an assessor out to do an actual inspection of the home? How did they did?
That is the copy. I have 3 pages from that assessment.
Okay. The listing mentions that the basement is finished in this, but they didn't. There was no pictures with the listing. So can you describe just what the basement looks like when we go down there?
Yeah, it's two doors, so 2 sides. Mm-hmm. One of the apartments, they have 2 bedrooms out top, main floor. In the basement finished, and it has 2 closing rooms, bedrooms, and it's moderate. I would say it is moderate. Or not very normal, for its age, and the floor in the 2 bedrooms sloping down, you can see that gap between the drywall and the floor.
And I just want to confirm, because the listing here, it shows 3 bathrooms, 2 4-piece and 1 3-piece bathroom. Is that correct? The 3-piece would be just the sink and sink and toilet and a standing shower. And then the other 2 have the tub shower combo. Is that right?
That is right, yes.
That's right. Okay.
2 was chest top, bath, and 1 was standing shower.
Okay. And with regards to your purchase, I just wanted to be clear, we go by the date of possession that we get from Manitoba Land Titles, which would have been in January 2020. Is that when you actually took possession of the house in January?
Correct.
Okay, good. No other questions?
Mr. Pike?
You mentioned after the painting, the cracks reappeared after some time. Were there cracks I saw the pictures, cracks in the foundation, cracks in the wall when you purchased the home?
I purchased it in snow. So at that time, it wasn't that clear to me. What I noticed in the assessment report, there is a crack need to be assessed separately. So I to be honest, I didn't bother. So I said like, maybe it's like something I can deal with it later on. When I bought that company, when it's like I heard 50,000, I found it serious. So that horizontal crack in the pictures, I didn't notice before. No, it wasn't. I didn't notice before, and the renter told me like there is one in the back, which is common in the structure near to the window basement. The only crack I saw it, and I fixed it. It was in the basement behind the dryer, so it was coming like moist. They told me it will come moist in the summer, and I bought some plumber, gave it like foaming and quick concrete. That is what I did before renting it.
I see.
Yeah.
And then the assessor has commented that the comparable number one is almost a duplicate of your property. Are there any other features of your property which would be different from comparable number one?
I didn't go to. I didn't go through like why that is different than that one, but I know the house in front of my house. It's 289. It's different, but I have the MLS. It was selling at the same time. I can handle it that paper, so I didn't compare or know what is the difference between those ones and mine location.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Any questions?
No questions.
You had mentioned a repair amount for the foundation cracking. That's what you were speaking to, correct?
Yes.
And you said 40 to 50,000?
Yes.
And did you get an estimate on that?
I asked him, but he didn't send the quotation. Like he didn't even want,
So where did the 40 to 50,000 come from?
He came. There is one.
Oh, they did come. You just didn't get it in writing. Is what
Yeah,
you're saying. Oh, I'm
yes,
sorry.
exactly,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you. And can you? It says you're on an external corner. What's the cross street where you are? So you're at Carter and. Do you know the cross street?
No, I don't.
No.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I had. I just went. Is it on Stafford? Is what my question actually was.
No, it's not Stafford.
It's not. It's not on Stafford. Okay. Okay, that's all my questions. So any need for summary, Mr. Cupford?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Noir, any summarization or
No.
no? Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today, and you'll be getting our decision in the mail shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, and have a good day.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is 555. You don't have, okay, so we'll skip over that for now. So the next item is 434A Elgin Avenue. Okay.
Hi, Tracy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Not well, but I can hear you.
Okay, so you're representing 434A Elgin Avenue, so we're going to swear you in.
Okay.
Can you state your full name, please?
Tracy Lynn Capello.
And do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us. If you've been watching, you may have seen how this is going to proceed, but I'll just run through it for you. So the assessor is going to present his evidence. You will then have the opportunity to ask him questions, and then we will ask him questions. And then after that, you can present your evidence, and the assessor can ask you questions, and then we will ask you questions. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Kupfer, when you're ready, thank you.
434A Elgin Avenue, parcel ID number 130-961-73200. It's in the Centennial neighborhood. It's a 2-story duplex, new construction, built in 2014. Living area of 1,814 square feet. Partial basement with no basement finish. 2 full bathrooms, no central air, and no garage yet on record. The lot size is just over 3,000 square feet, and it has a commercial influence, which I believe is a small church next door. Comparables 1 through 4, again, are all in different areas. Lord Roberts, St. John's, William White, and Archwood. They are all 2-story. They are all duplex, again, with the exception of Walker, which is technically a single family with a secondary unit. They're all new construction, similar to the subject, constructed between 2015 and 2016. Living areas range from a low of 1,574 square feet to a high of 2,640 square feet. Comparables 1 and 2 have basement finish, while comparables 3 and 4 do not. Well, 3 has no basement finish, 4 has no basement at all. Bathroom counts are as laid out before you. All 4 comparables have air conditioning on record, and all 4 comparables have no garage on record. Again, similar to the subject. They're all on smaller lots, ranging from 2,206 square feet to a high of 3,301 square feet. Adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of $374,800 to a high of $512,500, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $141.97 to a high of $305.72. The subject property's 2021 assessment is currently set at $306,000. The subject sold post-reference in 2019, again, $269,500. That was the first time sale. After reviewing the sale, a member of our staff actually made a few changes to our characteristics here based on what they saw in the building plans and what they was actually observed. So the forced air furnace was changed to baseboard heat, and full basement was changed to the partial basement that you see before you. And based on those changes, I'm actually recommending a value of $289,000 for 2021. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Capello, the assessor has recommended a new value of $289,000. Are you in favor of that recommendation?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. So you may proceed with your questions.
I just have one question, and I guess it's in regard to the comparables. Is it normal to select comparables so far from the site in question and in such different neighborhoods as the site in question?
I would say it's normal to select comparables within the closest available neighborhoods, or if not closest, then at least comparable in terms of desirability. I typically like to present a range from less desirable to more desirable, which I believe I've done here.
That's your only question?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Moretsky, any questions for the assessor?
Yeah, are these are duplexes, all of them, your comparables and the subject?
Right, so comparable 1 is the only exception to that, and it's kind of a zoning workaround. So in order to be a duplex, you need to be zoned R2. The workaround to that is if you're zoned R1, you can build a single family with a secondary suite, and that's what comparable 1 is. So it's built like a single family dwelling, and then they put a secondary suite in the basement. So the only main difference is that the 2 suites won't be the same size. It's not like your typical duplex where you see it's the exact same mirrored on either side. It'll have a larger 1 unit and a smaller secondary unit typically, which is what this one is on Walker.
So if it's there are two stories then, so does that mean that it's upper, lower duplex or side by side?
This one in particular, the one on Walker, 1 unit, I believe, is the main floor and upper floor, and then the second unit is just the basement.
And that applies to the comparables as well?
No, the rest of the comparables are standard duplexes, so you'd expect to see mirrors or at least similar size or the same size for each one. It's just this Walker one, like I said, is different because it's not technically a duplex. It's a single family with an attached secondary suite because of the R1 zoning.
As duplexes, then all the duplexes, they're they're configured similar.
Yes.
No further questions.
Mr. Pine?
Do we know the size of the secondary suite in the in comp two?
Comp 2 is a standard duplex, so that one should be split down the middle.
Sorry, comp one.
Well, it's a 2-story, so the basement would be about 775 square feet based on a 1,574 square foot.
So, so it'd be to a maximum essentially of about 700 square feet in the second unit in comp one.
Correct.
As compared to, I'll just pick a comp 3, where you could have 2 units of 1,300.
1,320, it looks like, yeah.
So would that size difference impact on the value?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, when you're dealing with properties of different size like this, provided that the lot size is similar, I typically tend to lean more towards the price per square foot. Again, as long as it's within reason for the difference in size.
I just noticed quite a difference in the time adjusted sale price, particularly comp 3 at 141 per square foot. Any comment on why that one would be almost half of comp number 1?
Absolutely. So it's likely 2 factors. The first is that, generally speaking, as you get into larger homes, you'll see a lower price per square foot in general. And then the other factor I would say is William White is probably the least desirable of the 4 neighborhoods among the comparables as well. That's less desirable subject.
And then in terms of the subject property, were there no other properties in the immediate area that would be closer comps than the ones you've presented?
Not that were new construction that I was able to find before the reference date, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. No other questions?
Yeah, I think my question was just answered. It's just difficult with these. It's also other than comp 1, the other sizes are larger than the subject property as well, so it makes it difficult too. But you're saying it was hard, there were no comps in the neighborhood. Yeah, okay.
I choose the best ones I
Yeah,
can find.
thank you. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, Ms. Capello, just give us this, you have a brief, so just give us a second here to pull that up on our screens and then you can proceed. Okay, has everybody got it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, please proceed.
Okay, as indicated, this is an infill duplex built in 2014 on a narrow lot, 23.4 feet on Elgin Avenue in the Centennial area. Very low cost construction intended for rental, low cost finishes and no amenities, no air conditioning or anything of the sort. The property currently assessed at $306,000. The property was listed for sale 4 times over the course of 2018 and 19. The first 3 times did not sell. Those listings are provided. We purchased it in December of 2019 for $269,000. On www.winnipegassessment.com, it lists the property as having a basement. It does not have a basement. It does not have a part basement. It has a full crawl space that was left in an incomplete state. The panel indicates a sump pump was intended. There is no sump pump. There was no sanding to the floor or any of the completing features that should have happened in a crawl space. And now there's sort of an acute accumulation of moisture going on. There's no windows. There's no ventilation to the crawl space. Extreme moisture is accumulating on an ongoing basis around the perimeter joists and needs to be remediated to prevent rot to the basement. And you have a quote attached from Bayward Builders in order to address that problem. In addition, I provided an image to you illustrating where the church is on the right of the property and the property itself. There's a very long, narrow corridor that's quite sheltered there that has become quite a den of activity for street life in the north end. Were exposed to loud fighting, ongoing traffic in the area, drug traffic in the area, etc., all directly in that corridor, which poses a risk to the property and to the tenants and requires constant cleanup on our behalf. I was aware of the neighborhood when I purchased. I've worked in the North End for many years and I now work at Red River College. However, what I've experienced and witnessed in this property exceeds what I would have anticipated, having some familiarity with the area. I checked a couple of websites, and you'll note I quoted royallepage.com. Average selling prices of properties in this neighborhood, $151,320, which I think is reflective of this activity. And I don't think that this activity was reflected in the assessment of this property. For my comparables, I noted that I couldn't find any duplexes within 5 years of construction in this area. I don't think, given the nature of activity in this area, it's right to go so far away from the area to select the comparables. I selected all comparables which were 4 or 5 bedroom duplexes, so 2-unit duplexes with either two bedrooms or a 2 and a 3 bedroom to compare. I've listed 6 of them there, and you'll note the average selling price of those duplexes in that Centennial neighborhood to be approximately $224,000. I feel that that is more reflective of the price of properties or the price of assessments. I understand that assessed value isn't incorporated into your normal decision-making process, but I just would like to note that the next closest property on the block that we're situated on is assessed at $177,000. We're assessed $129,000 higher than that. So given these circumstances, I feel that an assessment somewhere between the price that we paid and the average price of the 6 duplexes that I quoted that sold in that immediate neighborhood of $224,000 is a more reasonable assessment for the property.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kupfer, questions?
I was hoping you could speak more to that moisture issues. That's not something we typically see in new construction. So what's causing it and what's going to be the remediation for it?
The remediation is indicated in the quote provided. You can review that. It requires framing, it requires insulation, it requires vapor barrier, it requires a sump pump. This is definitely a crawl space. The only access to it is through a hole in the floor down a ladder. There's no sign of basement or anything. The floor is a mud clay. It should have been sort of topped with sand to assist with absorption of the moisture, and also vapor barrier, insulation, etc., to control the moisture, and some addition of some ventilation.
Are these replacements, or is this stuff that was never done? Like, was there no vapor barrier in the first place?
Nothing. They had not even removed the forms from pouring the concrete for the perimeter wall. Like, they just, in essence, poured the perimeter wall, left the wood forms there and everything, and didn't proceed to complete any of the around the footings. They didn't proceed to complete any of the other activities. The sump pump was intended; it's represented on the panel. But there was also problems with the heating and with the baseboards. They were just not wired properly, not working, so no heat was being provided down there, and just a situation allowed to sort of progress over the 5 years, so that there was a lot of moisture in the area, and you can see it just accumulating on the whole lower level. So if we don't remediate it, they'll be rot to the lower level or the foundation beams of the property.
You mentioned the corridor. Is it owned by both parties? Is that why it's difficult to get things done there, or is it owned by the church? Is it part of your property?
I'm not sure. I think it's probably, we probably each have to have an access amount. I think it's probably shared. We've attempted to put fencing there. We've put some fencing there at one end to try to stop traffic from the street and see if that might help. And it has helped on a limited basis, but the fencing is just easily peeled back. And if people want access to the area, because it is so dark, like the tall wall of the duplex, which has really no visibility from inside to that lower level, and then the tall wall of the church, it's a long dark corridor between the two buildings that is just a very nice sheltered place to sit and get warm or do what needs to be done.
Your comparables that you've included here, I don't see an age for any of the home. Are you aware of how old some of these properties are? How old some of the buildings are?
I think it is, just 1 second. It's indicated on the attachments what the ages of the properties are. Like I said, I couldn't find anything similar to the property, so what I went with was similar function to the property rather than similar age and construction of the property. I looked for properties in the immediate area functioning, doing the exact same thing that we're doing, which is 2-unit duplexes being rented in that neighborhood, in that community.
So just to clarify, you feel like these comparable properties constructed in 1953, 1913, 1882 are better comparable to your new construction of 2014 as opposed to going outside of the neighborhood?
That's not what I said. I said that I would have found properties like mine if I could have found them, but I feel that comparables in the neighborhood offering the same function that I'm offering are more likely to be reflective of the value of the property than comparables in completely different neighborhoods with nothing like the exposure that we have in that Centennial community. I understand it's not perfect, and I understand the ages of the properties. I have provided them. I haven't done anything to hide that, but these are the properties that were available that had actually sold that could give me actual value of a 2-bedroom duplex in that neighborhood at the time. So if it's not your normal practice, I understand that. But for me, going into Lord Roberts and looking at a duplex that's been well constructed, not this style of low cost construction in a completely different neighborhood, that has no more meaning for me than these do. These are much more significant to me and what I have at my disposal than what you've quoted.
What are the rental rates for the property?
The properties that we have rent for $1,095 per suite.
You said properties plural. Do you have properties in different surrounding?
No, just this. When I said properties, I meant both units within the duplex. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you.
Do you think that the comps you've provided would also derive a $2,000 per house price?
The rents in the area, I think, range between about, I don't have them in my brief, but I think they range between $950 to up to $1,100 for 2-bedroom units. The house next door to us is similar.
Okay, and do you have the dates of these sales that you've presented?
They were within, I received the printout from a real estate agent, and what I had asked him was for the 12 to 24 months prior. I noted when I put the brief together that those dates are not included on the printouts that he gave me, which are included in the brief. So you can take a look there. I don't have them at my disposal, but they were within 12 to 24 months prior to the purchase of our property.
No other questions. Thanks.
No questions.
When you purchased the property, were you aware of the crawl space issue?
We were aware that it was a crawl space. We did not believe it to be a basement. I did not realize it had been assessed as a basement. But I didn't know enough about crawl spaces to recognize the deficiencies as we went through. So I did know that it was a crawl space. I did not know it had been assessed as a basement, but the deficiencies were pointed out to us by other professionals that we had down there as soon as we realized that there were problems with the electrical and that there were electrical problems. I'm not asking for compensation for this, but there were electrical wiring problems crisscrossed throughout the house, affecting baseboard heaters, smoke detectors, and things like that. And because it was a life safety issue, we immediately had a contractor in to address those issues. And 2 of those baseboard heaters were supposed to be heating the basement, taking care of some of this problem of keeping the basement heated properly so this moisture wouldn't be as extensively generated. And it was other contractors that were down there that have more knowledge and experience about what a crawl space should look like that pointed out the deficiencies to us. But we've completely fixed everything that has to do with a life safety issue. It's just these other bigger issues that we have to move forward and address more in the long term.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any need for summary, Mr. Kupfer?
Thank you.
No. Ms. Capello, would you like to summarize anything for us?
No, I think my brief contains most of my points. I really just want to reiterate that I think nothing exceeding the price that we purchased, given the issues that I've raised, and most likely something closer to the average sell value in the Centennial area, or the average sale value of the comps I've provided is a more reasonable assessment for this property, given the nature of the community and the issues with the site.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us this morning, and you'll receive our decision shortly in the mail. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, still no one from 555 Pritchard? No, okay, but we will have you read that onto the record. Just let me pull that up. Okay, 555 Pritchard, Mr. Kupfer, when you're ready.
555 Pritchard Avenue, parcel ID number 140-208-05000. It's in the William White neighborhood. It's a 2-story duplex constructed in 2018. The living area of 3,000 square feet, full basement with basement finish. 4 full bathrooms along with 2 half bathrooms with shower. No air conditioning yet on record, and no garage. Unassessed lot size just over 3,500 square feet. The 2021 assessment for this roll is currently set at $481,000 or $160.33 per square foot, which the department is recommending.
Thank you. Any questions, Mr. Moretsky?
No question.
Mr. Pite?
I have none, thanks.
No, and I have no questions either. Thank you very much. And that will conclude today's hearing. Thank you, everybody.